Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayam Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Parivata Gacchaya Stotarasata Sri Srimad Advaita Naravina Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Nam Acharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Ko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Yama Guna Radha Guna Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishnu Bhattacharya Srimati Gurukhanana Swami Nityananda. Okay. We recite one very small simple mantra before we start. It's very simple. It goes, you can repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. So we're reading here every evening, or most evenings at least, from the Bhagavad Gita. And yes, as I said, I'm grateful that you have come. You were there already at noon? Or you also? Okay. Okay. Yeah, thank you for coming. also. So, you all understand English, I hope? Yes? Good. Du auch? You also? Verstehst du auch Deutsch? Nein. Okay. You're staying in Germany for a short while, or how is it? 3 years now. Okay. Okay. Good. Yes. We will speak English. So, yes, I gave a talk in the noon, and I explained how Srila Prabhupada, he was very proud that he had made a comment on Bhagavad Gita. He called it Bhagavad Gita as it is, and he said that I'm giving the original context of the book, the original content. And the proof is that the people who take this book and read this book, they become devotees of Krishna, which is the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. So, yes, so the Bhagavad Gita is a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. And at the moment in our cycle, it takes around 2 years to finish the whole book if you read one verse every day. So we are going in cycles over and over again. And at the moment we are in chapter 2, and we're reading text 4. And it is also written on the board, so we can also recite little Sanskrit together. You can partake. Arjuna uvacha katang bhismam ahang sankhye dronang cha madhusudana Yisubhi pratiyotsami Pujarha varisudana Arjuna uvacha katang bhismamahang sankhye dronang cha madhusudana Yisubhi pratiyotsami Pujarha varisudana. Any one of you would like to lead and try to recite? Yes, take courage. Arjuna uvacha katang bhismam ahang sankhye dronang cha madhusudana Yisubhi pratiyotsami Pujaha varisudana. Yes, someone else? Arjuna uvacha katang bhismam ahang sankhye dronang cha madhusudana Yisubhi pratiyotsami Puja. Okay, so we go through the translations of all the words. We will just read the translation. So, the translation of the Sanskrit goes, Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, he is speaking to Krishna, and he says, how can I counteract with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship? Maybe we can also repeat this once, so then we can memorize better the meaning, what is said. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counteract with arrows in battle Men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship. Yes. So, and here there is a short purport by Srila Prabhupada, our teacher. Respectable superiors like Bhishma, the grandfather, and Dronacharya, the teacher, are always worshipable. Even if they attack, they should not be counterattacked. It is general etiquette that superiors are not to be offered even a verbal fight. Even if they are sometimes harsh in behavior, they should not be harshly treated. Then, how is it possible for Arjuna to counteract them? Would Krishna ever attack his own grandfather Ugrasena or his teacher Sandipani Muni? These were some of the arguments offered by Arjuna to Krishna. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Ganandala Shalakaya Tsaksurun Militang Yena Tasme Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastadadi Satarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, Hare Krishna, welcome. Yeah, those who were here also for noon, I'm sorry. Somehow I gave the noon class and evening class also. Somehow it's like that. Yeah, I wish you had some more variety. But yes, so thank you for coming, all of you. So, are you all familiar with the narration of Mahabharata? Yes. So, you will be somewhat knowledgeable of the background of Bhagavad Gita. So, there is a big battle arising after a long development of events, and Arjuna and his brothers, like Maharaj Yudhishthira and Bhima and Sahadev Nakula, they are known as the Pandavas, and they are about to have war with their cousins, headed by Duryodhana. And somehow by by the will of providence, Arjuna's grandfather Bhishma and his teacher Dronacharya, somehow they also ended up on the side of the enemy. And although they personally had no bad relation, but somehow it came to that conclusion that their duty is to fight against each other. And Arjuna, he is a sincere kshatriya, so a kshatriya has to fight in religious war. He has to. He cannot avoid this. But Arjuna, he is confronting the other side of the opposing army, and he is seeing so many personalities who are dear to him actually, and he loses his determination to do his work, to do his duty in all circumstances, because he's thinking that what is the meaning of life if I have to fight against everyone I like? I have to kill those personalities. He's saying, how can I fight against you? And how can I fight against brothers and cousins and well-wishers, friends? He's giving a whole list, uncles. So Arjuna, he becomes very depressed, and not for his own sake. He will say that better I die on my own instead of taking part in this. So he's not simply selfish to think that I'm afraid of being hurt because it's a battle. He's not like that, but he's thinking that what we're doing here, it will simply create harm. There will be nothing good in this. So that is his situation. And he's claiming that Bhishma and Drona especially, they're my superiors. How can I fight with them? And so how can I fight with them? So somehow or other, Krishna has arranged the situation like this, and in the end, Arjuna will have to fight, and he will fight, and it will be glorious. It will be appropriate. So those are very intricate dealings which are taking place in that narration of Mahabharata. And but here in the verse itself, that point is highlighted also by Srila Prabhupada in the purport, that we should not fight seniors. We should not fight our parents or teachers or persons who are senior to us, superior to us. And Srila Prabhupada is saying, not even a verbal fight. If the teacher is chastising, if the parent is chastising, if the child is talking back, it's very bad. I heard one lecture recently said that in Germany also there was more culture a few hundred years ago, just like all over the world basically. and it said that the teachers, they would sometimes slap the students. Nowadays, here in the West at least, I don't know about other places, it's unthinkable. If the teacher slaps the student, probably he will go to jail. I don't know. And I heard that there was one teacher, he said, if I chastise my students, if I use some strong words, they will scratch my car. So there is no respect. And the speaker, he was saying that that recently, teachers would be doing like this, and you could say this is little harsh, this is little inappropriate, but the students, they would be students at that time, they still had some sense of submission, and he said that this was not good. But nowadays, the students will not accept any chastisement, and therefore it is even worse. It is even worse. Because they don't learn any manners. So nowadays, the world situation is that such values are decreasing. And the reason is that basically we don't understand why is this good. Why should I respect people? Why should I be humble or submissive? Why should I not talk up? Maybe sometimes we may even be intelligent and we may know something, and we may think that I'm right, he's wrong. Yeah, he is a little older or this or that, but I'm right, he's wrong. And why should I not speak the truth? So that question is rightly asked if we don't understand the subject deeply. So, and in India, I think you still have more culture than us here in the West. I heard this, and I noticed that also to some extent, that like parents are more respected, family is more respected, and that is very beneficial because in the whole material world, there is one big problem, which is that we carry enmity in our hearts. Nobody in the material world is free from this disease. And it is unnatural, because the spirit soul, which we are actually, is free from those qualities. The spirit soul is a positive living being. There's no trace of negativity or ill feeling, envy, such things in the spirit soul. Charu, Hare Krishna. Wenn du noch lange brauchst, dann lass das lieber einfach sein, weil das stört. Das macht zu viel Geräusch. Dann lass es einfach liegen. So it is a problem, and so it is an unnatural condition that there's enmity, and the whole material world is full of enmity. That is a problem. So at least in order to appease that that condition, there is need for a culture of, we would say, respect. So and respect is expressed in different ways in relation to different people. So, and towards seniors, respect means that you don't talk back, or you don't try to be the senior yourself in front of the person who is senior. May it be senior by age, or because he's your parent, or because he knows more, or he may simply be a little taller. So all such things make a person senior, and we have to be humble before that. And because the opposite of being, how to say, at enmity with each other is to be well-wishers of each other. And this can be cultivated, but it is difficult. And for this, such things are required. We have to learn a culture of mutual well-wishing. And that is done when a junior is humble before the senior. That is done when a senior is compassionate to the junior also. If a junior is humble and the senior will always chastise him, then that is also very regrettable. Like a humble servant who will serve his master very nicely, but the master is always rough. The junior, he will bleed in his heart. So this culture is important. And ultimately, this culture is only fully expressed and established by God consciousness. If there is no God consciousness, actually we cannot grasp we cannot encourage each other to come to a higher level of culture. Because otherwise we will always meet this other person who has a bad day, or who is somewhat inimical in the moment, in the situation, and we will always feel that this person has not treated me well, and we will experience a spirit of revenge. We will feel that this is not fair. So, and therefore we have to learn that there is a higher force, there's a higher perspective on reality, where everything that moves is the Lord, Lord Nrsingadev, or Krishna, Vishnu, whoever, whichever form of God that you appreciate the most, you can think of that. But that person is reciprocating with me in all respects. Whatever happens in my life, he is behind it. And he is my friend. And if I'm harshly treated by some secondary person, we should know that the secondary person, he may have some envy, he may have some enmity, he may have some anger, but the person behind him, Krishna, he is not my enemy. But somehow he feels that he has to teach me a lesson. Krishna has to teach us a lesson. The life is meant for learning a lesson, a very great lesson, which is to become conscious of God. And so if we have this vision, we can become fully free from any revengeful attitude. A person who always sees God behind everything, he will never bear grudge against anyone. He will always be able to tolerate anything. Do you all know the story of Prahlad Maharaj? Yes. Prahlad Maharaj, he's the shining example of this. His own father, he was such a cruel person that he tried to kill him several times. Not once, several times he tried to kill him, his own son. Very cruel. A small boy, not some puffed up teenager even. No, a small innocent child, 5 years old, it says, at that time. So his father, Hiranyakashipu, he tried to kill him several times. And Prahlad, he tolerated peacefully. He not just tolerated like, no, he tolerated peacefully. He was fully peaceful. He didn't bear any grudge. And then ultimately, Nrsingadev, he came and he killed his father, And you may think that maybe Prahlad Maharaj, he would be, he would be happy, oh, this person has tried so hard to harm me, now he's gone finally. We may also think that he is like traumatized because he was his father after all, and he would say that, somehow I feel guilty, I feel obliged, and what went wrong, and why did you kill him after all? He was my father after all. He could have told God. God came personally to kill his father. What is this? If you say that one thing, God killed my father, it sounds cruel. But if we understand, okay, the father, he tried to kill me, then okay, it makes sense. So, but Prahlad Maharaj was not concerned with such dualities. Prahlad Maharaj, he was fully surrendered to God, and he just tolerated anything peacefully. And then Nrsingadev, he killed his father, he killed Hiranyakashipu, this very cruel person, and then he ultimately he became somewhat appeased. Nrsingadev, he was very angry, but he became somewhat appeased. And Prahlad Maharaj, he approached him and pacified him. And then Nrsingadev told Prahlad, I want to give you some blessing. Please let me fulfill your desires. What do you like? He's God. Whatever he blesses, it is destined to be like that. You want some, whatever you want. And Prahlad Maharaj said, I want nothing. If I say I want this, I want that, we will have a kind of business relationship, but we are not business partners. I'm your servant. I'm your eternal servant. And Nrsingadev insisted that, please, let me have something. Let me give you something. I want to give you something. And I want to fulfill some desire of yours. And ultimately, Prahlad, after being asked consistently, Prahlad Maharaj would say that if there is one thing, then I have this request, that you please save my father from suffering for his cruelty and for his ill behavior in this life. Because we learned that law of karma is there. Whatever we do, it will come back in some way. Which is also the answer to the whole thing. If someone treats us with enmity, we should understand that the same kind of pain that is given to us, we have caused it to someone in the past. It is not coincidental. So that is a deep vision, which is worth cultivating. Whatever pain is coming to us, we should know that we have given this kind of pain to someone in the past. In a different way maybe, but the same experience we have caused to someone else. So Prahlad Maharaj, he knew that his father was destined to suffer severely because of his ill behavior towards not only his son, but basically the entire population. So Prahlad Maharaj said, I don't want him to suffer like this. If you like, you please relieve him. And Nrsingadev, he said that, yes, because he's related with you, who are so dear to me, I give him special protection, even though he was so cruel, such an awful person. But still, I will make sure that his next destination is not so severe. So that is the spirit of God consciousness. You cannot be offended. You cannot be disturbed by anything. And Srila Prabhupada, he also gave such example of extreme humility, extreme tolerance, being very respectful to people. And nobody could ever come in touch with Srila Prabhupada without being like Srila Prabhupada. He got so many disciples in the Western world, and the parents of those young men and women, they became disturbed. You're taking my daughter, you're taking my son. He had long hair as a hippie. Now he has a completely bald head. What is this? And what are you doing to my children? And they're not even allowed to smoke a cigarette or have a girlfriend or whatever. They have to give up all this. And parents, they were scared that what are you doing to our children? They came to this old man, and somehow never ever anyone who approached Srila Prabhupada went away and thought the same thing. No, whenever they met Srila Prabhupada, he would transform their heart, and he would make them feel that actually it's good, actually it's okay. My son is doing like this, and life is like, and that they have joined this, and they could appreciate that now that they could appreciate that it's a good thing actually. And so that is the potency of a person who is pure. Everyone who comes in touch with him, he will be purified, and everyone who comes in touch with him, he will become appeased. And Prahlad Maharaj is also praying like this: Swastyastu Vishwasya Kala Prasidatang, that may there be auspiciousness in the whole universe, and may all envious people be pacified. That is the non-compromised disposition of a pure devotee of God, that I wish well for everyone, and I wish that everyone will also be free from enmity. So this is the mood, and the culture of respect towards seniors, towards everyone. That is the method to at least calm it down a little bit. And you are very fortunate people, because you have that Indian culture where this culture is there, isn't it? You always try to, whenever you feel that there's some, in German we say dicke Luft, that there's some kind of friction in a relationship, then you just take a step back for a moment, and you try to be conscious, and you try to be self-reflective, and see how you can take part in improving the situation. That is glorious. You have a glorious background. You should know this, but we should also know that the ultimate perfection of this culture is God consciousness. The ultimate perfection of this whole culture is God consciousness. In God consciousness, we will be able to be free from grudge, and we will overwhelm other people by being their well-wishers. So, and this is not easy. God consciousness is not cheap. God consciousness, it requires hard endeavor to actually to satisfy God. Actually, this is all that is to be achieved. If you can satisfy Krishna, if you can satisfy God, who is sitting in your heart, and who is your friend, if you can actually prove yourself in your relationship with him, then you will find ultimate fulfillment. It is said, as soon as a person even endeavors to, it is actually even a high level of realization to think that, yes, I have a relationship with God, and I have to work in that relationship. For most people, it is even glorious to think that, what will happen after death? What am I living for? People, that is the beginning of genuine, why am I suffering if I want to be happy? Why is the world the way it is? So, if a person even thinks like this, that is glorious already. And if he goes on and on and on in a genuine search after truth, then one day he will have this realization that there's a person behind everything, and I have a relationship. I should live in that relationship. This should not be some vague thing or some dogmatic belief that there's some God somewhere, and I am here, and I have my life, and sometimes speaking for general people, sometimes I come to the temple, or if I live in the temple, sometimes I always do the ritual, but sometimes I'm also sincere. So our relationship with God should be something real, actually, and that is not easy. That is not easy. You cannot say I'm a Christian or a Hindu, or I do this or I do that, and therefore I'm already perfect, and I can be satisfied with this. Real God consciousness, real relationship with God is a very high thing, and it requires a very sincere dedication. And only those who have accomplished full dedication, only those who have come to that level of full dedication to our relationship with God, they they can be satisfied and peaceful at the end of the day. All of us are going through life, and we're going through life, and we're having some friends, and we're having some people we don't, we not enemies maybe, but some people we have some struggle with, and both will accumulate over time, and we will stay in that concept that this I like, this I don't like, this I want, this I don't want, and at the time of death, when we will not enjoy, nobody enjoys at the time when he leaves this body. At the moment of death, when we rather suffer, it is uncomfortable, it is displeasing experience for the body. At that time, the only solace we will have is if we are peaceful, if we have a good conscience. If we have a good conscience, then time of death, there will be no issue. We will be able to tolerate. There's some physical pain, but if I'm really peaceful, if I'm really satisfied in my heart, death will, okay, it will come, and then I'm done with it, and then I go on. So, and my destination will be auspicious. I will come closer to God. If I cultivate my relationship with Him, genuinely, I will come closer to Him. If I don't do that, I will get further away from Him. Because at the time of death, I will simply think of all the so-called injustice that I have experienced. Oh, this person said this person did that, and I really wish that he will get the same thing, which means that we will stay part of the same thing. We will take the next body, and we will fight with others again in our next life. So, this is only in pure God consciousness can a person die peacefully, and that is perfection. If you can die peacefully and with positive sentiment towards the Lord, that is perfection of life. Okay, I will just stop here, and usually after our lectures we leave some room for discussion also. So we have 15 minutes until Arti starts, so maybe we can take 10 minutes. Does any one of you have some thought on this, or a question, or some experiences which they would like to share? I beg you please don't let me talk only. You are also people. You have some life, no? You have some power to speak also. Please share something. What do you think? Thank you. Thank you. This question is very simple and very good, very practical. And ultimately, it says that practice makes perfect. So you have to think about how to practice. Thank you. This is a very good question. I will tell you what I understand, some of it. And the real, as I said, the real thing which is needed is God consciousness. It's only two words. What does it mean? It's a phrase. What is God consciousness? So there's one saying that how do we do? Yeah. And we cannot be God conscious by some thinking or even by some doing. We have to work on the level of consciousness and raise the level of consciousness. So and I will explain a little technical, but it's practical. It's very practical. The Vedas, they describe there are 5 levels of consciousness. The lowest level of consciousness is to be conscious of one's gross body. And animals are especially, for example, on that level, and small children also, very much so. They think about eating, they think about sleeping. Animals, not animals, small children, they want to take everything in their mouth. They want to see how it tastes. It means that they're on that level of consciousness. They're experiencing the world on that level. That is their experience. They want to eat something, they want to see how it tastes. And animals, they live on that level. Especially they are concerned with their gross body. They're always looking, is someone coming to eat me, or am I going to eat this one? So they're always thinking about eating and being eaten and defending themselves and finding a secure place to sleep. And then they look for, male bird looks for female bird and things like this. So that is lowest level of consciousness. And then one higher is anamai, then pranamai. Pranamai relates to more, we become interested in feelings and inner sentiments. We become interested in relationships also. And I would say human beings are also strongly on that level. And you can see when a child starts to grow, at some point, in the beginning, I observed this a lot since I'm here also, that I saw some children, they took birth, a small baby, and then they start growing. And I felt that for the first few years, they will only relate to the parents. They will see other people, but they will not look at them. They will not relate. They will very much stay in their small environment, and they will not go beyond that. And then and then at one point, I feel like around 5 years old, suddenly they start to take interest in other children. They start to take interest in other people, like very consciously. They start perceiving that these are also people, and I can interact, I can relate. So they grow up to that next level, and whole social life, and also art and music and all such things. Whatever we experience in relationship to those, it takes place on this level. Then if you go one higher, it is called Jnanamai. Jnanamai means the level of knowledge. You are interested, a person who is philosophical, or a person who is having some scientific task. He's trying to find out something about how is the law of gravity working, or things like this. What is the meaning of life? A person who's thinking about philosophical or scientific topics. A person who's looking for truth. And then if you go one higher, this is Vijnanamai. Vijnanamai means you actually reach the level of consciousness. It's beyond the body. If you reach this level, it's beyond the body. And I remember when I was, 12 years old, 14, something. I was sitting at the evening table, and I was looking at my hand, and I was thinking, this is a weird thing. You ever had this? You looked at a part of your own body, and you felt that, what is this? You disidentified from that body. And I had this first time, that was a strong impression for me. I was just looking at this, and what is it? Like this hand, it looks like so far away, and I'm seeing it with eyes. But if you think about it more, then even the eyes, like what is seeing is that, what is this? What is this seeing? So this level of consciousness. I'm not this hand. I'm not what I see. What am I? So I'm the consciousness. There's the consciousness behind the material entity. That's the soul. That is the self. So on that level, you start to actually be conscious of yourself, of consciousness itself. And on that level, you can tolerate a lot. If you can remain, it's not easy. Like all those different stages I'm describing, they are very much interchanging in our day-to-day life. Sometimes you're hungry. That's the lowest level. You have to deal with it. Okay. And you take interest in social dealings. You want to have good relationships and things. That is also, that's the second level. Sometimes you are philosophically inclined. Sometimes you think, why is this? And sometimes you just have moments like this. Oh, yes, I'm conscious. I'm the conscious being. I'm beyond everything out here. And
And so it's all changing all the time. Genuine spiritual practice means that you learn over time. You live in such a way that your consciousness goes higher and higher consistently, and it stays up there. It doesn't come down again. You come to the level of inquiry, and you don't go down again. You always remain in that systematic approach. Like you always try to be thoughtful, considerate, or one level down. You always try to be good in relationships. You always try to be in harmony with others. That is good. It's level up from, and even at the cost, if I have to, like a mother will know this. Sometimes she has to skip the meal for some reason to take care of her child. Or a father has to skip meal to go to work on time because he has to earn money to maintain the mother and the child. So we raise our level of consciousness, and the other one, we compromise it for that sake. So, and the person who learns to compromise all lower levels of engagement for the sake of remaining on the level of consciousness, that is very high level actually, very high. And then there's one more, and that is called Anandamai. That's the highest level of consciousness, or highest level of experience. And in Ananda means spiritual pleasure. And that pleasure is attained in relationship with God. If you can actually contact God, we say there's bhakti, devotion for God. We also say there's bhakti yoga. Yoga means connection. So if you can connect with God through your devotion, not only do some worship, but actually come to the point that you connect with God. And God is the complete form of Ananda, of bliss. So if you can connect with God, you will experience spiritual happiness. If you experience spiritual happiness, whatever material thing is there, it doesn't matter. It's cold, it's warm, people are nice, people are not nice, you are poor, you are rich. It doesn't matter at all, because you're happy. If you're really happy in God consciousness, nothing matters otherwise. And you can just easily, like Prahlad Maharaj, you can just, Hare Krishna, I'm happy. And no matter what happens. So, and Srila Prabhupada and other great spiritual teachers, they just are living on that level. And they have that very strong compassion for all of us, and therefore they preach, they teach, they write so many books, they travel all over and speak to so many people, they build temples, they do so many things just to teach us to come to this level of Anandamai, of an experience of happiness in relationship with God. So, if you, in our tradition, our answer to your question is the whole process of developing your relationship with God. Especially, there are two important things. One is that you hear about Krishna, and one is that you speak about Krishna, or you also chant his name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And if you do those two things, the result should be that it may take some time. If you really want to do something, you have to dedicate, and you have to take time for it. If you do those two things, the natural thing which will happen is that Krishna and everything that relates to him, it will become a part of your mind. You will start thinking, in other words. You will start thinking about Krishna. And whatever happens in the mind, that will become the basis of your actions also. And that is what Prahlad Maharaj is saying, that there are 9 levels of devotional activity. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. Hearing about Vishnu or Krishna, speaking about Krishna, and then Smaranam, thinking about Krishna, reflecting on. And then Pada Sevanam. That's the 4th one. If you come to that level, then you are very nicely situated. If you hear about Krishna, then you speak about Krishna, then you start thinking about Krishna. And then, if that translates that you do things for Krishna, that is Padasevanam. Like Arjuna, he was fighting for Krishna. You can earn your money for the pleasure of Krishna. You have to learn also how to do that. How do you use money for Krishna? How do you live in this world for Krishna? That has to be learned. But if you think of Krishna, then automatically this will develop. So, and ultimately, the last word is Atmani Vedanam, that you give yourself to God. You don't only try to earn some money for God, or you don't try to chant some mantras for God, or you do something for God. No, you dedicate yourself to God. You're not only telling God, I'm doing this for you. No, you're asking God, what do you want from me? I'll do anything for you if you want. And so as we go through those progressions sincerely with consciousness, we will experience this spiritual happiness. And then it is practical. That is the application of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna, he finished his, after Krishna finishes his instructions, Arjuna will tell him, I forgot the Sanskrit, but he will tell him that whatever you want, I will do now. So, not fanatically and not like a robot, but with full heart, with full conviction. Yes, I'm ready. I will. Okay, Krishna, what do you want me to do? I will do it. Like Hanuman. Hanuman is known as the servant of Ramachandra. No? Hanuman has this mood. Whatever Lord Ram wants, I will run and I will jump and I will do it. So like this, with great enthusiasm. And that is spiritual happiness. Yes. Good luck. It's not so easy. But if you're agreeable to go a path of cultivating this mood, then it is a question of time. As soon as you enter some train, it will take you to some place also. No? So if you practical, you can just take the book home. We have a few books over here still. You can take a book for small money, for example, and you can read it at home. You can think about how to apply it. That is practical. You can chant Hare Krishna at home. That is practical. You can. Where do you live? Munich. It's not so far from here. If you like, you come here once a month. If it is practical for you, of course. But in Munich, there's also some congregation of devotees. So if you want, you continue some association. You continue some chanting. You can continue some thinking by reading. And if you do those things, then you will make progress in God consciousness. Okay. Thank you for joining, and may Nrsimhadev bless you. Hare Krishna.